Got Jambi Corey Alexander. And number 5, Purdue leading it by a point. What do you got on this? Watch Darren Green.
Well, I think it's a great way for Darren Green not to pick up the foul, grabbing the net so his body doesn't take him into Caleb first. A beautiful find from Zach Edey, but give Naheem McLeod a lot of credit for coming over and being able to come up with that block shot, getting Florida State the basketball back.
And not a goaltend because the ball was not in the air.
Because the ball had not been released. If Caleb first shoots that basketball with Green hanging onto the net, that is the automatic goaltend for affecting the rim during the shot.
26-25 Purdue. Florida State looking to inbound. That shot skimming the front edge of the rim, and then Newman gets fouled. Team foul number 8, so they'll march it down to the other end.
And Purdue normally shoots great from the free throw line. Not great so far in this game, only 4 for 8 from the charity stripe.
Newman gets the first. Coming up next over on ESPN and the ESPN app at 9:15 Eastern. It's the 24th annual ACC Big Ten Challenge, and it rolls on. Number 18 North Carolina taking on number 10 Indiana at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. It's another Sonic blockbuster.
And another split at the free throw line for the Boilermakers, coming into the game shooting close to 79% from the free throw line, and only 50% thus far here tonight.
Off the glass and good as Green comes up with the bucket. He's got 11.
Yeah, Green showing that he's more than just a three-point shooter, putting the ball on the deck, getting to the rim, and a nice finish off the glass.
So he's right about at his season average here tonight as we close in on 2.5 to go. And they go possession arrow. It belongs to Florida State.
Darren Green Jr. going to be guarded heavily at the three-point line because he's had success. This time getting his shoulders past the defender, going off the glass to tie the game for the Noles.
27 apiece. Shake and bake, shot was short. Orton the rebound. Newman will try and hit.
Confident shot from Newman right in front of the Florida State bench. Has something to say to the bench, and I believe is teed up. After he knocks down the three. Newman knocks down the three, immediately looks back, has something to say to the Florida State bench right in front of official Jeffrey Anderson. And again, if you're going to say something, you got to know where the officials are. I mean,
to me, the funny part of the entire exchange was Jeffrey Anderson makes the call, looks at Matt Painter, you know, kind of like, is there something you'd like to say to me? And Matt Painter looked him right in the eye and went, no, you're right, thumbs up.
Matt Painter understands it. He's a player. He was a player. He was a competitor. And he also knows that, hey, you got to have better court awareness. No, if you're going to say something to the bench, make sure the officials aren't right beside you to hear it.
Jackson over Newman, loose ball. Jackson gets it back, another loose ball, tipped in the air. And eventually, it looked like Hoffman-Wren had it for a second, and he ended up absorbing the contact, and he's fouled.
But each and every one of these fouls against the Seminoles ends up as a trip to the free throw line for the Boilermakers. And both teams doing a great job getting after the basketball, trying to come up with the 50-50 ball, but it ends up being an opportunity for the Boilermakers at the line.
Saw Leonard Hamilton and his top assistant Stan Jones having a chat there with Chandler Jackson. Kaufman-Renn knocks it down.
Kaufman-Renn, another one of those role players for the Boilermakers. Purdue has 9 players averaging over 4 points per game and 10 players who average over 10 minutes per game. So we talk about depth. We're used to seeing that with Florida State, but Matt Painter definitely has it.
For sure. And done such a good job recruiting Indiana. And Kaufman-Renn, a guy that falls into that category.
Leonard Hamilton was envious of Matt Painter's recruiting of Indiana. He looks like he pretty much has the run of the state right now.
Green probing. And they get the travel. Cam Corrin.
Corrin just in a bit of a rush on that possession, getting an opportunity.
Corrin, the 6'10" Frosh will sit down, and Naheem McLeod will check back in.
Yeah, just started to dance a little early before the music started playing. I get it. Freshman playing in a big game against one of the best players in the country.
Smith picked up his dribble. He found Edey. Morton, a pretty open look.
That hasn't been Morton's strength all the season. He's done everything great, but except for shooting.
Green gets another.
Speaking of strength, that is definitely his strength there. Green knocks down his 3rd three-pointer here on the evening.
He's got 16. And the foul on Jackson as Morton hit the floor.
And this is Florida State basketball. Jalen Worley getting out in transition. Darren Green finding the corner, knocking down the 3-ball to tie the game at 32.
Darren Green Jr., the transfer from Central Florida, UCF. He led the Knights in scoring last year at a little over 13 a game. Hails from North Carolina. So here's Ethan Morton at the line. Morton, a junior from Butler, Pennsylvania. I got to give a shout out to his high school basketball coach, Matt Clement, former Major League pitcher. Matt Clement had a really nice long career and was a very good pitcher, but he's a hoops junkie. And that was Ethan Morton's coach in high school.
Oh, I like it. We had another famous baseball hoops junkie in the building earlier today, huh?
David Ross, the manager of the Cubs. Connecting with Matt Painter, who's a huge Cubs fan. David Ross, who lives here in Tallahassee. 2-point game. It's been a good one here in the first half. And there's Edey getting into it defensively. First collects the tip. And Purdue will hold for the last shot, leading by 2.
Will they? Mistake there. They were supposed to. I'm not sure the freshman knew the clock. Matt Painter not happy with that. He's having the conversation.
Yeah, Matt Painter just looked at Braden Smith and just said, "Come on, man."
You gotta know. And again, it's a freshman mistake. Braden Smith, of course, hailing from the state of Indiana, played high school basketball at a very high level. Not sure if they had a shot clock, and not sure if he was in that situation before. He always had the green light.
Fletcher. And we'll go to the break. Purdue on top at the half, the number 5 team in the country, on the road and leading it, but just by 2. Let's send it back to the studio now. the mark. And Green with another. He is red hot tonight. He's got 21.
And playing with confidence. And forgive me, it's not a floater. Thank you for not saying floater. It was a runner.
That one opposite. And count that for Fletcher Lawyer.
Just like to start the game, Lawyer was able to knock down a 3 to start the scoring for Purdue. Does the same here to begin the second half. Someone going to have to find a way to cool off Darren Green Jr. for the Boilermakers.
Fletcher jumper, and that rolls off. Gillis the rebound. Green and Cleveland, they've got 33 of Florida State's 40 points. Lawyer will try, hits another.
Doesn't get easier than that for Lawyer. He still had the basketball before the State's defenders left him on that possession, giving him an easy look to regain the lead for the Boilermakers.
Corey, Caleb Mills has been quiet in this game.
And Caleb Mills has had stretches where he struggled offensively for Florida State as Cam Fletcher comes up with the offensive rebound to put back. But Mills has to, regardless of the offense, continue to defend.
Lawyer wide open. And Edey couldn't secure it. Florida State basketball with the lead. And now Smith, but they don't have numbers. He waits.
Right now, you've got to be thinking, I'm going to take the big fella off the dribble.
And one. Oh, boy. Braden Smith put it on the deck. Ended up on the floor, but he put it home off the glass, and it'll go to the line.
But as a guard, when you have the basketball that far away from the basket, and you've got a 7-footer stepping out to guard you, you've got to be thinking aggressively. I'm going to put this ball on the floor. I'm going to the basket. Now, there may be help. I might have to drop it off, but I've got to at least put that level of pressure on the opposing team's defense for disrespecting me by putting a 7-footer on me. It's like having a mouse in the house,
right?
Inverted.
It's the reverse
yes.
of the mouse in the house.
Yes.
And Smith rattles it home. Purdue with a 44-42 advantage. Mills hesitated. Edey rips down the rebound. Smith will try. Edey got a hand on the rebound, but Seminoles the other way. Chance to tie it or take the lead with a 3. Fletcher. And McLeod puts it in.
Great job by Cam Fletcher sealing and just getting the shot up on the glass. Even though he didn't make it, by Edey coming over to help, gives his teammate an opportunity for the putback.
Nice rejection there by McLeod. Tied at 44, 15-10 to go, second half. 44, 15-10 to go here. Second half, Leonard Hamilton and the Florida State Seminoles looking to pull off an upset. Purdue with the third biggest climb in a single week in the AP rankings, from 24 all the way to 5. And how about that note? Leonard Hamilton has the most top 25 wins while his team has been unranked in NCAA history, 55 of them. This would fall into that category. So trying for number 56 here tonight.
Coach Ham takes a lot of pride in that, and he takes a lot of pride also in taking jobs that other people didn't want. When he took over at Oklahoma State, when he took over at Miami, and then when he took over at Florida State, this was not a very good basketball program, but has built it into a powerhouse, not only within the ACC, but a team that you can rely on to make a run in March. A down year this year, but this has become one of the premier programs in the country.
Lead inside. Caleb First able to corral it. They're playing First and Edey together. Smith kick to the corner. That's First. And Smith able to scramble for the rebound. Needs some help. Gets it off. And Morton. Good look. First inside and puts it in.
You see the versatility of Caleb First on that possession, shooting the three and then getting inside, finishing. And that's part of the reason why you can play these two together.
And there's Tom House with a much needed three. And all of a sudden, Florida State back in front by a point.
But one of the things that Leonard Hamilton does by getting his guys in the first half and giving them some action, they get confidence. And you see House is a much more confident player with that shot here in the second half than we saw in the first half. Has got a little more bounce to his step, especially after he sees one go down.
That last foul on Cam Foran. Deontay Green will check in for Cam Fletcher.
Deontay Green, more than likely, if Florida State had a healthy group, wouldn't have played this season. Just returning after a knee injury in January, but
that's too easy right there.
Yeah, you know, no need to even talk about that.
That felt like on a Nerf hoop. Back in the day, you're in your bedroom, Nerf hoop.
You know, there are people out there listening that don't
have no idea what
Nerf hoop is, which is sad.
It is. It's terrible.
Nerf hoop was probably the most inexpensive entertainment.
Oh, gosh. Magnificent. Good ball movement. First inside. That wouldn't fall. And out of bounds, Florida State basketball. Purdue by a point. And take a look at the Edey dunk.
One of the reasons why Zach Edey is so efficient is because he's playing on a Nerf hoop at 7'4". hey, you know what's the best part about it? He's a good athlete.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like he's slow and he can't jump, things like that. He's a relatively good athlete, especially for a guy that's 7'4". He's leaving the ground when he dunks the basketball, which makes it even more difficult. It's not as though he's just tiptoe dunking.
He didn't start playing basketball until he was 15. Kid from Canada. Baseball was really the sport. He was a pitcher and a first baseman.
Can you imagine standing at home plate?
Well, it's got to feel like he's delivering the ball from about 3 feet away.
Exactly. Randy Johnson at a different level. Edey right now directing the offense from the paint. Didn't get the opportunity in the post that he wanted.
Smith at the basket, puts it in. Morley flips that up. First rebounds. Here comes Smith. Purdue by 3. Looking to extend the lead.
The pass.
First with the throwdown off the feed from Braden Smith.
That was a beautiful find by Smith. Normally I can see him coming. That one I had no idea where he was going with the basketball.
Way downtown, rebound grabbed by Newman.
Another nice find.
And first rattles it home. And just like that, it's an 8-point game.
Boog, what we've seen, the difference between the level of defensive intensity we saw from Florida State to start the game, pressure on the basketball, it's no longer there here in the second half. And Braden Smith is now out here dropping dimes because that pressure's not there. Caleb First has been the benefactor of not one, but two beautiful passes.
Half, John Shambi, Corey Alexander. What's changed here in the second half?
The level of pressure on the basketball. In the first half, Florida State was heating the basketball up. Now there's no pressure on the ball, which allows Smith to be able to find Caleb First after Darren Green falls asleep on the baseline. To start the game, Purdue had 5 early turnovers. To start the second half, Purdue has 5 assists, no turnovers here in this second half. And part of the reason why they built this lead to 8. Leonard Hamilton talked to us about this earlier today. The level of intensity, the level that they can put out in the first half, because they don't have the numbers, it dies off in the second half.
It's hard. It's hard for them to be able to execute their plan, play the way they want to play for the full 40 is really challenging. A 9-0 Purdue run. Caleb First has been at the center of it. He's got 7 second half points. Cleveland inside and gets that to go.
And most of the work that Matthew Cleveland has done in this game has been off the dribble, attacking the basket. Maybe he needs to be a little hungrier for his opportunities trying to get downhill.
Cleveland ends a Florida State drought that was a little over 3 minutes. 11:01 to go. Timeout on the court, and we'll take it with him. Caleb First's been a big-time impact guy second half.
He has been, and moving without the basketball, finding the open spot, the benefactor of a number of beautiful passes from Braden Smith. With no defense, you beg defense, you 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 defense.
Thanks for doing that. I appreciate you. In Indiana, Corey Alexander's going to need a moment to himself.
Man, what better time to use?
That was perfect. Who's on first? The only thing that would have been better if Terrence Mann was still here. We could drop "People Will Come," Ray. People will most definitely come.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or we could have Mann on first. Then who's on second?
Yes. They get the foul on, I think, on Fletcher. Yes. So Cam Fletcher picked up his first.
Cam Fletcher trying to get in there and get the steal on Jenkins, and Jenkins had a hard time handling the basketball in the first half, so the Noles will go after him.
Edey lost the handle. What do they call it here?
Well, I can guarantee Zach Edey did not shoot the basketball up to the shot clock.
Wow. You say Florida State basketball. Seminoles trying to cut into the deficit here, and Green had been quiet for a bit, able to draw the foul.
But I like what Green is doing. When he's attacking on the pick and roll, he continues to make sure he keeps Edey on his heels. Because if Edey's on his toes, recognizing that he's going to pull up and shoot a jump shot, he can gather and go block the shot. But as Green continues to go into his runner, he doesn't allow Edey to be able to gather his balance and affect the shot.
Well, the fourth annual Big 12 Big East battle Tomorrow night, we got 2 games for you. The first one's a top 7 matchup. Creighton going up against Texas. That'll be a lot of fun. And then Seton Hall traveling to Lawrence to take on Kansas. Big 12, Big East. Both games on ESPN and the ESPN app.
And Boog, this is the last year of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Tonight is actually the last night of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. 24 years, a number of great instant classic games, great basketball over a large span, but we welcome in the era of the ACC SEC Challenge next season.
Newman puts it on the floor, and Fletcher charged with his second foul. Smith has made an impact here in the second half. Getting his teammates more involved. Goes baseline here. And now Newman, shot clock winding down. I haven't said that a lot. Jenkins hoists. And an offensive rebound and a putback, Mason Gillis.
And that's Purdue basketball. And you mentioned it. Very few opportunities to run the shot clock all the way down, but even when the shot under the stress, the guys in black not giving up on the opportunity, chasing it down for the offensive board and the putback.
Jumper wouldn't go. And a foul inside on Purdue.
After a strong defensive possession, the Seminoles unable to come out. You see Gillis getting inside position on Green, as if he were the defender blocking out, and an easy offensive board and putback to extend the lead to 8.
I mean, it's interesting. I'd be curious how many shots have been taken. It's usually something I have my eye on with the shot clock under 10. It's been very few.
It has been very few in this game. And, you know, Purdue is normally a team that, again, scores in the 70s, 80s. You know, I believe the record for Matt Painter is 64-2 when they've scored over 80 points. And again, it's a team that you talked about his ability to coach offense, but this Purdue team defensively is special.
Under 9.5 to go. Purdue's lead is 8, and a nice move there by Cam Fletcher.
Yeah, nice by Cam to avoid the charge. Getting downhill, attacking the basket. Leonard Hamilton was raving about him, says he's a warrior. Will go to battle with Cam Fletcher any day.
Fans wanted to travel, and a turnover. Cleveland inside and one.
I believe it's better that the fans didn't get the call that they wanted, because if they had, it would have been a dead ball turnover. We see Cameron Fletcher avoiding the charge, and then after not getting the call, Florida State comes up with the turnover, getting out in transition. Mills to Cleveland. Cleveland with the finish, the flex, and an opportunity for his 3rd and 1 on the evening.
Matthew Cleveland with 16 points in this one. And rattles that one home. The kid from Atlanta having himself a nice night with 17 points. And it's a 3-point game.
And Cleveland played his best in the biggest games for Florida State last year. So recognizing that this is a big game, Cleveland stepping it up. And Leonard Hamilton got to find a way to get him consistently doing this on a regular basis.
At Painters, Purdue Boilermakers took the giant leap to number 5 in the country. Feed inside, Edey, and 1. And he is pumped up.
Now, Booth, you've seen a lot more Zach Edey than I have. Have you ever seen him this emotional in the game? We've seen a number of opportunities where he scored through the contact, opportunities for and 1, but letting out that emotion afterwards.
Really demonstrative. And showing it off here tonight with 21 points. Mentioned his career high is 30. I mean, there's just no question that when he gets it in a certain position, he's almost impossible to stop. Cleveland collects on the move, and that one was off the mark.
That was the first mistake we've seen Cleveland make. One more to Cameron Fletcher, who has a wide open look on the baseline, gives them a better opportunity.
And again, a chance for FSU to cut the lead. It's a 5-point game, and that one rattles home for Mills, and now it's a 3-point game.
We talked about Mills being relatively quiet in this game. If Florida State can get him going down the stretch to go along with Cleveland and Green, they can absolutely make this interesting here on their home court.
Offensive foul on Newman. So Brandon Newman charged with the foul, break in the action, and it's a 3-point game.
ESPN2 Fonz, Nate Lashevsky and the Irish get Sparty.
Yeah, the lack of a true center has caused Nate Lashevsky to have to play the center spot. He's got to stay out of foul trouble against Sparty. 46% from three.
And then over on ESPN after Ohio State Duke, coach, the walking double-double.
Trace Jackson-Davis is a relentless offensive rebounder, loves to catch the ball off the right block. He gets it there. He goes to work.
Boog, we look forward to more of our doubleheader coming up after we go final.
Tallahassee, a good one. Number 5, Purdue, getting all they can handle.
A lot of conversation on the sideline. Cameron Fletcher, Stan Jones, all getting involved in the mix for Florida State. And that's really where Florida State has struggled this year. It's really from a leadership standpoint. Who is that guy? Who's that veteran that has been through the fires and can lead these younger players to really what the culture of Florida State has been? In my opinion, I think that Cameron Fletcher is that guy. I sent a text message to his high school head coach and mentor, Tony Irons, earlier today. You saw Cam and I talking about this pregame. It was like, hey, I sent you a message today, not sure if you got it. He said, I got it loud and clear.
I felt like you were heckling him.
It might have been a little bit of heckling, but at the same time, it's because I care.
I understand.
It's because I care. And again, this program is a very proud program and tradition, and Leonard Hamilton needs that guy to be able to step up. I think Cam is that guy.
Smith not able to hit, and there's Fletcher with the rebound. And Fletcher with 9 rebounds. That's one off his career high. Mills trying to turn the corner. And it's poked away. Edey secures it.
Costly turnover for the Noles. An opportunity to possibly tie the game with a 3, and you walk away with the empty possession.
Gets inside, off the glass and in. Pretty nice move there from Fletcher Lawyer, putting it on the deck.
Especially for a guy who's supposed to be just a shooter, recognizing the defender, running him off the three-point line, getting downhill and getting a bucket when his team needs it.
That was a little strong for Cam Fletcher, and now Smith back the other way. And that one off the glass and in. So Braden Smith with the deuce, and all of a sudden it's a 7-point game. It's amazing to think you look at this lot on the court for Purdue and you ask the question, who has the most rebounds? Braden Smith has 9. Yeah. And he leads all the Boilermakers.
Yeah.
All right, my bad.
The little big fella.
Okay.
Little big fella getting in the mix. Zach Edey slacking, only 6 boards for him tonight. So, I mean, if the 7-4 guy's not going to go get it.
I just got the side-eyed yo man point guard look. My mistake.
You knew it was coming. You used to working with, you know, those shooting guards and power forwards.
Smith inside and maybe score that one. No. Jeffrey Anderson was speaking to the Purdue bench. It will be a foul.
Great officiating crew, by the way, tonight. Led by, of course, Bert Smith, Jeffrey Anderson, my guy John Gaffney. I mean, a really good group, personable group, willing to talk to players. And as much as I, you know, talk about my guy Bert Smith pregame, I love him to death. I keep telling him I'm going to crush him on air, but he's such a good official, I have a hard time doing it. I want to, though. No, that's my guy. Great group we had tonight.
I thought Jeffrey Anderson did a good job as everybody on the Purdue bench was jumping up and down because McLeod touched it And Jeffrey Anderson very demonstratively said, no, it was still going up as he pinned it to the glass. And they get a foul on Morton as he was a little too close to Darren Green. Green, who had a tremendous first half, he's been quiet since the break. That's the first.
Green providing that scoring for Florida State, that necessary go-to guy. Is that sustainable? Can he be that guy for them this season? I mean, over the last couple of seasons, we realized that Caleb Mills is going to be inconsistent. He's going to have his games where he goes for 20-plus. He's going to have his games where he struggles to get to double figures. If Florida State can add another scorer, consistent scorer, that would help. Oh, nice. Just
great look as Smith finds Edey.
It doesn't get any easier than that, right? You can see Braden Smith is comfortable amongst the trees.
And that one drops in from Caleb Mills. And now some pressure.
This is what we saw from Florida State to start the game. But there's a difference in that pressure after 36 minutes of game time in comparison to in the first 4.
And McLeod rejects that one, and it's out of bounds. Purdue leading it by 7 on the road. 3:51 to go. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Continental Tire, the smart choice in tires. All right, still to come In the ACC Big Ten Challenge over on ESPN, 9:15 Eastern. It'll be North Carolina and Indiana, and following us, Michigan State and Notre Dame over on the U. It'll be Boston College and Nebraska.
Could come down to your alma mater at Nebraska tonight. What happens if it's close? 7-7 is the tie.
Yep.
We've seen it multiple times. And
Earl Grant, the fella's going to have to deliver.
Yeah. The ACC came into today with a 5-3 lead in the challenge.
From way downtown, Lawyer, a little strong.
Another stop for Florida State. This is where they're going to have to make their push. 3.5 remaining. You can't continue to allow Purdue to be able to play with the 7-point cushion.
Cleveland jump stop in the paint, lost the handle. Cleveland and Green have been their offense in this game. Shot clock at 6. Cleveland a little short. Smith hesitates, ball fake into Edey, flips it up and in. He's got a game-high 25 points, and he's played a game-high 32 minutes. The fitness is really impressive.
Almost as impressive as the hands. That is a difficult situation to put a 7'4" guy in, but he continues to be successful.
Yeah, the hands are good. He gets it in a certain spot. He's able to secure it almost every time, it seems.
But, there have been a number of times where there is really like, why would Braden Smith pass him the basketball right there? But he continues to make it look so easy where you say, well, that's why, because he's got great hands.
Green. And now Mills. Loose ball. Mills gets it back, fires it up. And the tip ends up with Mills trying to scoop it home. Couldn't do it, and Edey the rebound.
Florida State's had his chances here, just unable to be able to get it to go down, and that's been the struggle for the Noles throughout this young season, is finishing basketball games. Had a 19-point lead on this floor against Florida, ended up surrendering that lead and losing that game.
And they just got an offensive foul on Edey.
Zach Edey talking to Jeffrey Anderson, wanting to know he was pulled. He was not trying to run and create the contact. He was pulled into the contact. As you see Edey setting the screen, Caleb Mills tries to go under, and Caleb Mills does a great job of selling that because he does pull Edey into that foul.
Green, shot contested, and a big rebound from Gillis. So Purdue basketball under 90 seconds to go, and the lead is 9. Smith gets bumped.
Right now, Matt Painter having a conversation with his point guard, trying to get him to understand time and score. With a lead and a full shot clock, there's no reason to penetrate and go downhill. Fortunately for Smith, he was bailed out. But Matthew Painter, who was a very tall guard himself, not a big man, he was a guard, but he's not happy with his point guard. And again, he's a freshman.
Matt Painter has the ability, though, to deliver the criticism and be angry and also funny at the same time. Like, he's delivering the criticism, and all the coaches, and you can see their radio crew and some of the other people, plus the officials, are smiling.
Yes, because it's funny. It's funny to us.
Yeah.
It might not be funny to Braden Smith.
Fair enough.
But it's definitely funny to us. But, I mean, again, but Matt Painter, of course, is a great coach, but he's right.
Yeah.
Don't go in there. There's no reason. Nothing good happens for you.
Yeah, you're up 9. There's no need to stop the clock. Kick out Cleveland. That's a 3 and count it.
And that's the evolution of Matthew Cleveland's game. If he can add that consistently, his game goes to the next level and he becomes a premier scorer for the Florida State Seminoles with a consistent three-point shot.
So the lead is 8, 1:07 to go. Timeout on the floor. And again, Michigan State and Notre Dame coming up. 71-63. Doesn't get any easier for Leonard Hamilton's group. Their next game is against Virginia. Do you have that?
I will be there on the call in Charlottesville for that game. Look at Virginia. Then back at home against Louisville, who has struggled, winless on the season thus far. USC Upstate, St. John's, Notre Dame, both here at the Tuck. So after the road game at Virginia, 4 straight home games for Florida State. And if you're Leonard Hamilton, regardless of the outcome of this game, I believe that you can take away some positives of this. And again, once in the ACC, there are no moral victories. But you're playing against one of the best teams in the country and against maybe the best player in the country in Zach Edey right now. And for the way that Florida State's competed in this game, if you can clean up some small mistakes, this is a winnable game for you.
Yeah, there were opportunities where they took the lead, opportunities where they could have kept it tighter. And again, I think one of the topics you look at, Baba Miller, who's a freshman from Spain, suspended for the first 16 games of the year due to a travel benefit that he received. And so this will be now, what, 7 more games he's still going to sit out, and he'll probably end up being one of their best players.
16 games is a
lot.
That is a lot for, I mean, again, that travel benefit had to have had some extra bonuses or something. I mean, because if it was just the travel, 16 games is a long time. That is half the season.
Feed inside, Fletcher the deuce. And it's back to 8, the full court pressure. Newman double team. Newman looking for some help, and he gets fouled.
Foul call. Morton was actually standing right in front of Burke Smith trying to call the timeout. He saw his teammate under duress.
.6 to go, and Newman knocks it down. Talking about Painter, about all the kids and the different sneakers they wear. Brandon Newman's rocking some pretty sweet green Kobe's.
Those are the Mambacitas, I believe.
I like those.
Yeah, very nice. I'm colorblind, though. I think the Mambacitas were all black. I didn't know they were green until you said it.
Probably should have discussed that pregame.
You know what? You got to tell me these things.
That is totally fair. That is on me. I led you right into trouble.
I probably should have told you I was colorblind at first.
There they are. They're a pair of sneakers as a kid that you grew up, it hadn't quite exploded the way it has now. I mean, Nike was getting big and Jordans, etc.
The Air Force One poster.
Yeah.
With Moses Malone.
Absolutely.
You know, the whole team changed my life. I became a sneakerhead the first time I saw the Air Force One. And I'll be honest with you, Boog, I probably have 100 pair of Air Force Ones right now.
Wow.
And simply because that is what brought me into the sneaker game.
Okay. So I like the Dunks and the Jordan 1.
I see you rocking the fly Dunks right now. Ooh, my man got a nice shoe closet. I'm gonna send you a video of mine when I get home. But the Dunks and the Jordan 1.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife can't tell the difference between the two.
Right.
They're very similar look. And the thing is, but before Michael Jordan wore Jordans, he wore Dunks in the NBA. So that's the thing, because when he first started playing, Jordans were not created yet. They were still being manufactured. He did wear them.
I did not know that.
He did wear them his rookie year, but he did not wear them to start the rookie year. So it was later in his rookie year when he started wearing them. He would wear Dunks in games prior to that.
Oh, wow. The lead is 10. Oh, and score the basket. And Matt Painter's a little frustrated.
Well, as a coach, you want to make sure that your team finishes the game the right way. And again, at this point, twos don't really hurt you, but you don't want to add the free throw by fouling and give them an opportunity for three and stop the clock.
Edey back in. But again, it's another example. Edey's back in, and he can make free throws.
Yes. So that you don't have to take him out down the stretch and be fearful of your big guy getting fouled and not being able to go to the line and take care of business.
And they'll march it down to the other end as Brandon Newman will get a chance to shoot. So Purdue will escape and improve to 7-0. Matt Painter's team will head back to West Lafayette here tonight.
I'll be honest, I was not expecting this result. Florida State definitely competed here on their home floor, and not that I didn't expect for them to. But the way Purdue was playing, I knew this would be a tough task for the Seminoles, but Leonard Hamilton had his team prepared for this action tonight. Too much Zach Edey. But outside of that, you got to give the Seminoles a lot of credit for the way they competed here on their home floor.
Yeah, big time. Nice night for Darren Green, Cleveland as well. House off the mark, out of bounds, and that'll do it. And Purdue improves to 7 in a row. Oh, with a road win, 79-69 the final. Corey enjoyed it.
Great hat out with you, my man.
No doubt. Matt Painter and company pick up the win. Up next, Michigan State and Notre Dame. Let's head out to South Bend. Ryan Custer, Jordan Cornette. Fellas, take it away.
Challenge presented by Continental Tire. It's a little bit chilly in Bloomington, Indiana, but the Hoosier fans are fired up. It's a packed house, of course, with the North Carolina Tar Heels here at Assembly Hall. All part of an ESPN Sonic blockbuster. Number 18, North Carolina. Number 10, Indiana, meeting here in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Jay, we got blue bloods, we got preseason All-Americans, we got one of the best environments in college basketball. We got it all here tonight. And we are ready for the tip now of our Sonic blockbuster. Paul Sells, Larry Shirato, Courtney Green are the officials. And away we go in what should be a spectacular environment tonight. First possession to the Hoosiers. Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care, the fifth-year senior in Xavier Johnson, and the preseason All-American Trace Jackson Davis, and living up to the hype so far this season as Hood Schifino, Jalen Hood Schifino, a freshman from Pittsburgh, knocks down the opening shot of the game.
And North Carolina goes immediately to double team Trace Jackson Davis inside. Schifino wide open.
Ball knocked away, retained by the Tar Heels. Leaky Black puts it on the deck and draws the foul on the drive. Mike Woodson, former Hoosier himself from 1976 to 1980, now in his second year as the head coach of Indiana.
And Mike Woodson has an outstanding defensive team that plays a very physical style. They're going to try to heat up the ball and put as much pressure on North Carolina passers as possible.
Pete Nance misses the three. Armando Bacot misses the follow.
That's what Armando Bacot does. He gets offensive boards, over 4 per game. You have to lay a body on him, and it's got to be a hard one.
4 around 1 with a Bacot in the middle, guarded by Jackson Davis. Shot clock down to 5. Caleb Love banks home a 3.
Caleb Love has struggled shooting the ball thus far this year. Under 30% from 3, 24% on the season.
Race Thompson has it knocked away, gets it back. And Johnson with a switch on him, guarded by Nance. Hood Schifino with a foot on the line. Indiana by 1. Obi, Dickie V, thank you very much. We are just getting going here at Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana. A blue blood matchup between the Tar Heels and the Hoosiers. Jalen Hood Schifino's got both buckets for Indiana. Caleb Love banked home a 3 for North Carolina. And it is a wild atmosphere, as you would expect, here at Assembly Hall.
Indiana starting out man-to-man, and they have been very physical with a lot of heat on the ball to try to take away vision from these North Carolina passers, so they cannot see inside to Armando Bacot.
Carolina comes in having lost its last 2 in Portland, 5-2 on the season, ranked 18th as Race Thompson is way off with a 3. Indiana's an undefeated 6-0, but only really tested once in a 2-point road win at Xavier.
Second offensive rebound for Armando Bacot. He missed a dunk, and then Trace Jackson Davis blocks that one from the perimeter.
And then Bacot returns the favor on his buddy. These two guys know each other well. They were teammates on a gold medal winning USA U18 team a few years ago.
And both are having outstanding seasons. Trace Jackson Davis, the lefty, averaging just under 20 points and 8 rebounds per game. Extremely efficient.
Hood Schifino, very talented youngster, a freshman from Pittsburgh, 6'6", can play either guard spot.
So hard to speed him up. He plays with great pace. He's got 6 points to start this game, and he averages 8 on the season, shooting under 26% from 3, so knocking down some jumpers, a good sign for Indiana to start.
Top 30 recruit, part of a very good freshman class that Mike Woodson has here. Love, a tough shot off the glass. Baycott rejected, but a foul called on Race Thompson.
Dan, part of the shooting problem for R.J. Davis and Caleb Love to start this season has been the quality of shots that at times they have settled for. And Hubert Davis considers bad shots to be turnovers, but sometimes they put up a shot. It might as well be a pass to Armando Baycott. He basically blocked out Trace Jackson Davis and wound up getting that rebound as a result.
So Baycott at the line. Carolina fans, of course, will remember that he didn't play very much late in that 4 overtime loss to Alabama on Sunday in Portland. Turned his right ankle. Carolina staff say it is unrelated to the ankle sprain that he suffered in the tournament last year. But he played very little in the 3rd overtime, didn't play at all in the 4th overtime, admits he's not 100%, and now he's kind of holding his right shoulder, Jay, as he makes his way back on defense.
Well, this is going to be a physical game. It already has been. But Armando Baycott is a tough player, and he has basically been a double-double machine his entire career at North Carolina.
Look at Hood Schifino just keeping the dribble alive, finds an opening, but left it short.
Carolina has numbers.
Puff Johnson in off the bench. Runner won't go. And it is out of bounds to the Tar Heels.
North Carolina has not been quite as effective an offensive rebounding team this year as opposed to last year. Armando Baycott has. But Carolina going after the ball. You can see it just going off the knee of Miller Kopp, and no surprise that Leaky Black involved in it, one of the best defenders in the country.
Hubert Davis has made a couple of substitutions already. Puff Johnson, DeMarco Dunn are in. Nance and Love are on the bench, although Nance getting ready to check back in, and we got a foul going against Baycott to send it the other way as he reaches up for that right shoulder again. 1-point lead early for the Hoosiers. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Continental Tire, the smart choice in tires. Welcome back to ESPN's ACC Big Ten Challenge, presented by Continental Tire, all a part of an ESPN Sonic blockbuster. Great environment, of course, here at Assembly Hall, and an early concern for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Something going on with Armando Bacot's right shoulder. Got some attention on the bench. This is the play where we think it happened, Jay, and you see he is fouled and then reaches up for that shoulder, and he's been grabbing for it ever since.
Yeah, he's been on the bench that whole time out. I think he might have gone back into the locker room to get some treatment. But thus far in the game, North Carolina's only basket has been a banked-in three by Caleb Love. Carolina has not gotten the shots that they want.
Indiana getting a good look inside for Trace Jackson Davis, and he'll be heading to the line.
And you knew out of the timeout Mike Woodson was going to want to get the ball inside to Trace Jackson Davis. He's not touched the ball much to start this game. Jalen Hood-Schifino has been the only scoring thus far for Indiana.
Jackson Davis not quite 100% himself. He's been dealing with a bit of back soreness. Did not play 2 games ago in their win over Little Rock. Played but only 18 minutes in their win over Jackson State. But has practiced, and obviously they were, being a little bit conservative, a little bit cautious, wanting to make sure he was as close to 100% as could be for this one.
North Carolina going with a smaller lineup. Pete Nance at the 5. That is going to be a tough matchup with Trace Jackson Davis, who is explosive at the 5.
DeMarco Dunn and Race Thompson got a piece of it. And it's off the underside of the backboard and out of bounds to the Heels with 6 on the clock as Bacot returns to the bench.
Indiana, very good defensive team. They're holding their opponents to under 60 points per game, 37% from the field, and very good ball pressure. It's a physical style, but they want to keep ball pressure on North Carolina this entire game.
Davis having some trouble getting it in. 3 to shoot. And a big 3 goes down as the Davis shot ties the game.
What a beautiful step back dribble. He got a switch and had Race Thompson guarding him, and R.J. Davis just decided to take that on. That step back gave him the space he needed to get the shot off over the longer Race Thompson.
So the Heels 2 for 10 from the field. Both of them makes threes. Wow, Xavier Johnson, the 5th-year senior from Woodbridge, Virginia, with some fancy stuff.
Well, Xavier Johnson has been much more consistent with his decisions this year. Completely under control. Coming to a stop and then pivoting.
Davis no. Rebound Trace Jackson Davis. Johnson in some traffic and eventually turns it over.
On the out of bounds underneath for North Carolina, Race Thompson had to switch off on R.J. Davis. Just a step back and a 27-foot jumper. He's not shot the ball to his capabilities, but terrific fake. And yet another one completely under control on that last possession for Xavier Johnson.
16th all-time meeting between these two great programs. Indiana leading 9-6, including a win in the 1981 national championship game. Hood-Schifino off to a great start for the Hoosiers, but a bounce pass in traffic too far for Malik Renew, the freshman from Miami. Mike Woodson, 2nd year as the head coach here at his alma mater. Played here from 1976 to 1980 as a senior, Big Ten Player of the Year, and 5th on the Hoosiers all-time scoring list with better than 2,000 career points.
Carolina basically playing 5 out right now with Pete Nance as the 5, trying to draw Trace Jackson Davis away from the bucket. But where do they go for scoring?
A block is the call on Renew as the crowd thought it was going to go the other way.
Leaky Black with the crossover probably got fouled there. Went uncalled.
Mike Woodson didn't love the call, and meanwhile 3 subs coming in now for Hubert Davis, including Armando Bacot returning.
Caleb Love took a little break after he took what I'm sure Hubert Davis considered to be a bad shot. And remember, Hubert Davis considers bad shots to be turnovers.
And the shot selection of Love has been questioned at times. He took 36 shots in the 4 overtime loss to Alabama. Scored 34 points, but went 13 for 36 from the floor. Puff Johnson, no. Bacot misses the follow.
And holding that shoulder after trying to tip it in with the right hand.
Johnson behind the screen, now gets the switch, and what a recovery by DeMarco Dunn for the rejection, which has to please Hubert Davis. Like Mike Woodson, Hubert in his second year as the head coach at his alma mater, an outstanding career, better than 21 points per game as a senior, and again, like Mike Woodson, a really nice NBA career, Jay, in excess of a decade.
But DeMarco Dunn, who just blocked that shot, is such an improved player, much more confident.
In off the bench with a wide open look. Tamar Bates misses the three. He's coming off a big game, 22 in their last win over Jackson State. Indiana getting a lot out of their freshman class and going pretty deep.
Baycott was wide open early, but got the ball late after he'd been pushed off his spot.
Dunn, no. And Renew has it for Indiana, another part of that freshman class. Spinning in on Baycott, loses it, and then commits a foul, and that'll be number 2 on Malik Renew.
Renew needs to make a move quicker. If he's got to dribble 2 or 3 times, he's begging for it to be taken away.
Trace Jackson Davis returns as Renew is among those who comes out. Also, Trey Galloway is into the game. He's had missed the last 3 games with a knee injury, the junior from Culver, Indiana.
Indiana usually plays more players generally than North Carolina does. But against Xavier, Mike Woodson shortened his bench up because of how good Xavier was. That was the best team that Indiana's played thus far.
Baycott leaves it short. And he's now 0 for 4 from the floor. The double on Jackson Davis. And the lay-in for Jordan Geronimo, the junior from Newark.
Good look over the shoulder by Trace Jackson Davis. Every time he touches the ball, something good will happen.
And Galloway guarding hard out on the perimeter on Caleb Love.
Yeah, look how far out Carolina's having to initiate offense.
Seth Trimble, part of the freshman class for North Carolina, draws the foul on the drive.
Well, Trace Jackson Davis, the lefty, gets the ball inside, one-on-one in the post. DeMarco Dunn comes down. It's a terrific cut by Geronimo. He's such a good athlete. And Trace Jackson Davis, 94 feet coming up. The honors keep coming for the big man.
94 feet with Indiana's Trace Jackson Davis. So your brother is a quarterback at Tennessee.
Yep.
What is tougher, football or basketball?
I mean, I think his position at QB is tougher, but overall, basketball is probably tougher.
Why?
Just because, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, you said that you got to play offense and defense, stuff of that nature. So.
And you don't get to wear a red jersey for crying out loud.
Exactly.
There aren't committee meetings after every play.
You can't get touched.
So you have a dog. What kind of dog is it?
Golden Doodle.
Are you the only guy on the team that has a pet?
No, my teammate Ray's got a Golden Doodle as well.
All right, I hear you do a killer Mike Woodson impression.
Yes,
What
sir.
is it?
Nail, slot, rim.
Then yesterday, Coach Woodson took you over to meet Coach Bob Knight. What did he say to you?
He said, you didn't come to Indiana to play, you came to win.
94 feet.
Yeah, Bob Knight was in the house yesterday, and that's what he said to Trace Jackson Davis. And they know when they come to Indiana, the expectations are high. And Jay, with this group this year, with some of the players coming back, outstanding freshman class, the expectations are certainly high for the Indiana Hoosiers.
Well, I think Indiana and Purdue are the teams I've seen are the best teams in the Big Ten. And the Hoosiers, I think, are much better this year than they were last year. One of the reasons, the freshman class they brought in, and certainly Trace Jackson Davis coming back for yet another year. But North Carolina, to start this game, Dan, they're 2 of 16 from the field. That's not going to get it done. But what Indiana has to do, they got to stop turning the ball over, and they've got to clean up the offensive glass. Carolina's got, what, 7 offensive rebounds?
Yeah, on 14 misses.
And then they got to keep getting it into Trace Jackson Davis. He has to touch the ball because Carolina's doubling. And early on, they've let the ball come out on the same side of the floor as the double. And if they can reverse it from there and catch Carolina in rotation, Indiana can have a great deal of success. But Trace Jackson Davis has to touch the ball more.
Being guarded by Armando Bacot. Hood-Schifino shakes his defender, misses the long jumper, and Nance has it for Carolina.
And that's what Pete Nance has to do for North Carolina. He's got to become a more consistent rebounder because he can shoot it.
Trimble dribbles into traffic and turns it over. Geronimo left alone, misses the 3, and a rebound for Bacot.
Really good block out by Armando Bacot on Trace Jackson Davis.
As you said, Bacot's a double-double machine, averaging a double-double in his career. Trimble behind the back, gets the shot up and knocks it down. A freshman with great speed. Hubert Davis has an outstanding on-ball defender. They're looking for him to become a little bit more confident at the offensive end.
Well, he's a really good player, but Carolina didn't run any offense there. It was just a one-on-one play. And Carolina's got to make harder cuts and move the ball against this Indiana defense.
The double leaves Hood-Schifino open, and the freshman already has 10.
And Carolina letting the ball come back out on ball side. And that means the defender doubling the post has to recover out to the ball. That's a tough closeout.
Love around Geronimo and is fouled on the floor.
Now watch when the ball goes inside to Trace Jackson Davis. So now all of a sudden Seth Trimble goes to double. And who's keeping the ball from coming back out ball side? Nobody. And that's an easy step-in 3 for Jalen Hood-Schifino.
So would you rather see somebody else double, or do they have to rotate if Trimble's going to double?
Where are they going to rotate from?
Right.
It's got to be Trimble getting back out there.
Gotcha.
And that's sort of the problem. Oftentimes when you double post to post, you can keep it from coming out ball side and force the postman to try to throw it opposite through the hands of the double team. Now, if you're Zach Edey from Purdue, you can throw right over the top. But most other players can't do that. Ben Howland used to do it when he was at UCLA, bring a post-to-post double that was awfully difficult to throw out of. Sometimes you'd have to dribble out of it. And it's difficult. When you let it come out ball side, it is really tough to double effectively.
Second foul on Geronimo. He goes to the bench, and Race Thompson has returned.
Actually, right now, Dan, Carolina is fortunate to be down just 4 with the ability to cut it here with Pete Nance at the free throw line. With the way Carolina shot the ball.
Well, they're in the bonus already, which helps. Nance, in effect, taking the spot of Brady Manick. 4 starters back, and Hubert Davis, instead of having Manick, grad transfer from Oklahoma, he's got Nance, grad transfer from Northwestern, and he says Nance is the nicest kid in the world. You know, the rest of the group went to a national championship game. Nance is trying to fit in, blend in, respectful of what they did last year. And Hubert says that he went to Nance and says, no, I don't need you to fit in. I need you to be a dude. Go out there and play like you can play.
Well, he's a really good player. He's got size, versatility, he can guard multiple positions. But he needs to be aggressive as a scorer. Great move.
You mean aggressive as a scorer like Trace Jackson Davis is?
No hesitation at all. Just a quick spin move to the baseline to get around to the other side of the rim. That's why Trace Jackson Davis needs to touch the ball every time down. He draws defensive attention that no other player on this Indiana roster does.
Preseason first team All-American, same as Armando Bacot. Nance banging with Thompson. Off the glass and good.
One-on-one in the post, the most difficult thing to guard in basketball. And Pete Nance trying to get to the middle and turning off the body contact to kiss it off the glass. That's just beautiful.
Jackson Davis had a rebound, lost it, and may have gotten poked in the eye, and he is behind the play. And Nance is open for a corner three as the Heels take the lead.
Does that count as being a dude? 2 plays in a row, scoring in the post and knocking down a 3 in an advantage situation.
And 7 now for Nance. He's got their last 7 in a row.
Pete Nance can help off of Race Thompson.
Boy, how good is this kid? Jaden Hood-Schifino again.
Well, he's a point guard with size, but what is evident from early in his college career is you cannot speed this guy up. He plays at his pace, and he is unbothered by pressure. Little slice cut screen for the screener to get Nance in the low post.
Again, the one-on-one with Thompson. And again, Nance delivers.
Well, he can make a turnaround jumper over either shoulder, and then he can stretch you as well.
He is definitely being a dude for the Heels right now. He's got their last 9.
Well, he's used to playing in this building. Transferred in from Northwestern. He's got Assembly Hall experience. What a move.
And with his offhand, Jackson Davis a miss, but he gets it back.
Trace Jackson Davis so explosive off the floor. He leaves little doubt when he goes up for a shot.
Came into the game tonight shooting 76% from the field on the season.
Carolina fouled on a cut. Every time Carolina cuts, they have to cut hard because they're getting bumped on every cut. But Trace Jackson Davis is just a monster inside. The lefty can use either hand. He's got a great second jump. And his first jump pretty good too.
Well, Jay put together his all-ACC and Big Ten starting five. The decibel meter on my phone, on my app, registered at 112, and all 30 NBA teams have a representative here.
Brooke, thank you. On a variety of levels, it's a big game. Outstanding atmosphere, definitely one of the best in the nation. 2 ranked teams, 2 blue bloods, and always fun to see programs like this come together. This is the first game you and I have done on a campus this season.
This year, yeah. But not the last.
Not the last. Far from the last.
North Carolina's played Indiana, what, 5 times in the ACC Big Ten Challenge? This is the 4th game they've played here at Assembly Hall.
Little pressure and nearly a steal. And Thompson will get it over for the Hoosiers.
Leaky Black guarding Jalen Hood-Schifino, and anybody Leaky Black has guarded this year, he has shut down.
The 6'9", fifth-year senior took the extra COVID year. Black deciding to come back for another year with the Heels. Jackson Davis got fouled on the way up. And 2 shots coming. Action from the 4th annual Big 12 Big East battle tomorrow night. It's a doubleheader. How about this first game? Creighton down in Austin taking on the 2nd-ranked team of the nation in Texas, and then Seton Hall into Kansas in the late game at 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Creighton runs beautiful offense, but they better be ready for a fist fight when they head to Austin for that game. And Tyrese Hunter, transferred in from Iowa State, is having a great year. I'm not sure any team in the country has played better to start the season than Chris Beard's Longhorns have played.
And Jay, Baycott back on the bench, although this time it's probably more because it's his 2nd foul, but while he's there, he'll get more medical attention.
That puts Pete Nance at the 5. He will try to draw Trace Jackson Davis away from the bucket.
Love the miss. 7 minutes to go in the first half, all tied up at 22. But not for long. Galloway with a beautiful feed to Jackson Davis.
Trace Jackson Davis is a great roller off screen and roll action. Boy, what a great job by Galloway to keep the ball away from Caleb Love.
Nance. And a travel.
Trace Jackson Davis has great feet, and the screen was rejected. He just rolls right to the basket. Nobody steps in to tag and take away that roll. That much space. He is incredibly dangerous. There he's at the top of the key.
Johnson corrals the loose ball, guarded by Davis. Still plenty of time. Jackson Davis again to his strong side, and the follow.
Oh, that is just remarkable. Just overpowered Pete Nance, beat him to the glass to dunk that offensive rebound. What a big-time player Trace Jackson Davis is on this level.
And he may be on his way to a double-double in the first half. Love again. And another miss on the drive. And now a foul called on Carolina.
Every shot that Carolina has taken has been contested. When they turn the corner to drive, they are having to find the basket through a sea of arms, and Jackson Davis just overpowers Pete Nance here, goes right into his chest, knocks him back, and then is there for his own offensive rebound.
You talked about it. The second jump is elite.
Oh.
Second foul on Puff Johnson.
Now does Leaky Black go double?
The reverse spins down to R.J. Davis. And another tough shot taken by the Heels. And now Nance wide right on the 3. And now Johnson ahead of the pack. And Hubert Davis can't like much of what he's seeing right now, Jay.
Well, Nance rushed the shot. That was not taken with any sort of rhythm, and really was a bad shot. And a bad shot is the first pass in your opponent's fast break.
7-0 run Hoosiers.
But Galloway is not letting Caleb Love get the ball. Look how far out Carolina's offense is being run.
And how much time has already elapsed. Race Thompson called for the foul.
Well, Indiana has really put great pressure on the ball. There has not been an easy catch. And no question that was a foul, but just at the end of the clock. But look at the rush of this shot. There's no reason to take that. And that led to an easy run out, which you cannot defend. That was a great job defensively by Indiana. They are everywhere on the defensive end.
So at the line, Johnson missed a lot of time the last couple of years with injuries. Missed the first 3 games this season with a knee issue. He played 48 minutes off the bench in the 4 overtime loss that Carolina had against Alabama on Sunday. Hubert Davis does not go all that deep. Try to get more minutes out of guys like DeMarco Dunn, Seth Trimble. But right now, 6 guys, Jay, really dominating the minutes for the Tar Heels.
Well, if you recall, Dan, at the end of last season, Carolina had a 6-man rotation. That was basically it. So these guys are used to playing big minutes, but your point about Portland, where they played a 4 overtime game, that's got to stick with them a little bit. I mean, Carolina came right here from Portland to Bloomington, and then they go back to Chapel Hill, and they've got finals starting on Friday.
Right. And then 10 of them have a final exam on Saturday, and then they open up ACC play Sunday at Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. Always a tough place to go. Hood Schifino, the kick. Wide open. Corner 3. Too strong for Renew.
Right, Indiana's got to stop fouling North Carolina. It's just been a parade to the free throw line in the first half.
Number 2 on Jackson Davis, who says, "Coach, leave me in." And Coach might. Looks like Coach is, at least for now.
He's got a minute to think about it. You don't have to sub him out until the second free throw.
And now Geronimo coming to the scorers table, so it looks like Jackson Davis lost the argument.
I don't think those are really arguments. It's more pleading.
So Jackson Davis may sit for the rest of the first half. Both he and Baycott with 2 fouls, but Baycott's back in the game.
So a completely different lineup for Indiana right now without Trace Jackson Davis in the game.
Great defensive play there by Leaky Black. So what else is new? One of the elite defenders in college basketball.
And for North Carolina, they need to start looking to Armando Baycott. The problem is Carolina can't have any vision to see him with all the pressure that Indiana has put on the ball.
Hood Schifino with a dozen, the high score in the game. And now Renew, top 30 recruit. The kick. Good look. Johnson short. Tipped into the backcourt, and a fresh 20 for the Hoosiers.
Well, Caleb Love had an opportunity to go get that ball.
In and out for Hood Schifino. Baycott the rebound.
Boy, what a grab by Armando Baycott. That was not an easy rebound to corral.
Johnson with a turnover. Forces it to Galloway, who lays it in. Great play defensively and in transition by Xavier Johnson.
He was like a lineman that got a piece of a pass made by a quarterback.
And now Geronimo knocks it away. Johnson to Galloway.
This has been a defensive clinic by Indiana in the first half. An 11-2 run for the Hoosiers based on pressure on the ball.
The defense has been elite for the Hoosiers, and it has helped stake them to an 8-point lead. Johnson forcing the turnover. Galloway on ahead of the pack. It's an 11-2 run for Indiana. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Sonic Steak Butter Bacon Cheeseburger, for a limited time only at Sonic. Kevin, guys, thank you very much. As Jay, you talked about the same things the guys in the studio are talking about. They're just not getting into their offense. The shot clock is running down, and they're being forced to take some tough shots.
Well, they're so far out on the floor that their drives are longer, their cuts are longer, and North Carolina has to get more cuts to the basket. They've been turned into a one-on-one team. Every catch is difficult, and they've had a hard time getting it here into Armando Bacot. And a great job of staying between Bacot and the basket, forcing him to take an 8-footer instead of letting him get near the rim.
Carolina shooting 24% from the field. Indiana shooting 50%.
And Indiana with a 20-4 advantage, points in the paint.
Nance down with a loose ball for the Tar Heels. Carolina comes in having lost 2 in a row in their last 2 games. At PK 85 in Portland, lost to Iowa State, and then lost the 4 overtime game to Alabama. The Hoosiers undefeated, only tested once, a 2-point win at Xavier.
Not sure Carolina's faced pressure quite like this.
Bacot, and a foul from behind on Geronimo. That'll be his 3rd, but he is in there with 2 because Mike Woodson has Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson both on the bench with a couple of fouls.
And one of the first times that North Carolina has been able to isolate Armando Bacot in the low post. And Mike Woodson would prefer not to double North Carolina and give them a chance to play out of the double where they can get open shots. Anytime you double team, you have to ask yourself, how do you feel about open shots?
6 for 25, only 2 assists in the game, and there are the points of the paint numbers you were referring to.
And Indiana's defense has made it near impossible for North Carolina to run any offense.
So let me ask you, Jay, the 2 losses notwithstanding, even in the 5 wins, Carolina has not looked like the team that they looked like at the end of last season. They got hot in late February and then made a run to the national championship game. By and large, the same cast is back. Manick is now Nance. Runner for Johnson. What do you see that is holding Carolina back so far this season?
They've been a little bit banged up. They still don't have freshman Jalen Washington playing, and they're trying to get a rotation down. And North Carolina's going to be fine. This is a really good team. But they played a difficult schedule. Remember, last year they lost some games by 20 plus.
Yeah.
See, Bacot's got to get it earlier.
One-on-one with the freshman Renew, and Bacot wins the battle.
Anytime he's got one-on-one in the post, you like those odds.
Xavier Johnson. Off the back of the iron, Renew the tip into the backcourt, and another possession for the Hoosiers.
Boy, Renew has got athleticism. He's got a college body right now.
Mike Woodson will use a timeout.
Pressure has made it difficult for North Carolina to get the ball into Armando Bacot. Last couple times down, they've had the chance to get him one-on-one in the post. He goes against the freshman Malik Renew and gets the score.
Look at the lineup. Conference Championship Saturday begins at noon on ABC. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 title game between number 10 Kansas State and number 3 TCU. College game day starts at 9 in the morning from AT&T Stadium. Then UCF and Tulane square off for the American title. And in prime time, 9th-ranked Clemson takes on North Carolina in the ACC Championship game. Sunday on ESPN at noon Eastern, the exclusive reveal of the final college football playoff rankings. Don't miss it. Renew. And another rebound for Nance.
Nice little up and under move by Renew. Just couldn't get it to go. And with an 8-point lead, Mike Woodson able to steal extra minutes with Trace Jackson Davis, those 2 fouls. And another steal.
But then Leaky Black pokes it away from behind. The shot clock did reset.
Boy, how active have the hands of Indiana been?
DeMarco Dunn steps into a wide open 3, and did the Heels ever need that?
more confident. His shot mechanics have improved. DeMarco Dunn looks like a different player this year as opposed to last.
The sophomore from Tucson getting more minutes here this season.
Well, this is a big possession. If Indiana can get a score before half, or conversely, if North Carolina can get a stop and perhaps a score.
And a foul out on the perimeter committed by Dunn, and that will be the 7th, meaning 1-1 coming for the Hoosiers.
Not a good decision to foul that far away from the basket and allow Indiana to go to the free throw line. Or actually, is that the 6th foul?
Oh, that was the 6th. I'm sorry. I thought that was the 7th. So no shots.
And now Indiana takes the last shot. They could have taken it all the way down and left only about 4 seconds. Tried to get an offensive rebound. Not much time for Carolina.
There's the 7th. So Johnson will be going to the line.
That's just positioning off the on-ball screen, making sure you're connected, but being in proper position to hedge so you don't pick up that foul.
Galloway returns for Renew. Johnson at the line, 3 years at Pitt, his 2nd year here in Bloomington. Outstanding in their win over Xavier. 7 for 8, 23 points, and he added 7 rebounds as well.
Xavier Johnson's played a lot of high-level basketball. Remember, he transferred in from Pittsburgh last year. I mean, he scored over 1,600 career points. He's a 5th year. He played 3 years at Pittsburgh.
One of 2 in time for Carolina.
Plenty of time.
Love rejected. Johnson gets it off in time, but leaves it short. And the first half comes to a close with number 10 Indiana up half a dozen on Carolina. The battle of the big men won statistically by Trace Jackson Davis, outscoring Baycott 10-4. The rebounds even at 7 apiece. Hoosiers by 6. Time now for the Jeep halftime report with Seth and Fonz. Here's Kevin Connors. Welcome back to the ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Continental Tire, all a part of an ESPN Sonic Blockbuster, coming to you live here from Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana, where at the break the Hoosiers have a 6-point lead on the Tar Heels. Hi again, everybody. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. Very fun atmosphere. The game a little ragged at times, but one constant. Trace Jackson Davis, the All-America candidate, is playing like an All-American.
Well, he's been a presence. 10.7 rebounds. Carolina's fortunate to only be down 6 because Indiana's defense was stifling, but when they got the ball inside to Trace Jackson Davis, good things have happened. The double is coming from the ball side, and North Carolina loses Jordan Geronimo here on a dive to the basket, just a miscommunication. He winds up getting an easy 2 as a result of that great over-the-shoulder pass. Then the double team comes from the ball side, from the guard digging down, and that's awfully difficult to ask Seth Trimble to get back out and get to that shooter. And here Trace Jackson Davis setting a drag screen in transition. Galloway turns it down, and he just rolls all the way to the basket for an easy 2. But North Carolina in this second half, 22-6 points in the paint. The advantage for Indiana. North Carolina's got to run much better offense in this second half. Be stronger on their cuts, set up their cuts to get open easier so they can present themselves as receivers when there's pressure on the ball, and they have to get the ball inside to Armando Bacot.
We are ready now for the second half of our Sonic Blockbuster matchup. The Tar Heels with the first possession. Armando Bacot's got some tape on that right shoulder now as he comes out to start the second half. Black with a drive, but he missed the layup. Looked like it just slipped off his fingertips.
Thought he might dunk that, taking the ball to the baseline side with the left hand. Little low cross screen to get the ball inside to Trace Jackson Davis.
And the lefty up and over Nance, making it look easy.
That was a little on big screen set by Jalen Hood-Schifino. Puts you in a bad spot to let the big guy through or switch it, and then you've got a disadvantaged situation in the post.
Love, who scored the first bucket of the game for the Tar Heels tonight when he banked in a 3, has not scored since.
And I think Indiana go back inside again. Let Trace Jackson Davis touch it.
Remember, he and Bacot each playing with a couple of fouls, so will both guys try to get the other one that third. And there it is. He doesn't get the bucket, but he does draw the third foul on Armando Bacot as we check in with Brooke Weisbrod.
Well, guys, I talked to Coach Davis, and coming out of halftime, he was pleased with the amount of touches and shots his guys are getting in the paint. He said, we're just not finishing. He also is very unpleased with his free throw performance, 9 of 14. Said, I haven't seen that in a long time, but he said, this is a big game. Our big guys have to step up, and our guards have to take shots that they can actually make.
There's some tough shots taken by the combo of Love and Davis in the backcourt. And then, Jay, we were just talking about the possibility of foul number 3. And, boy, Jackson Davis, he's got so many ways to get you in trouble.
Well, isolated on the left-hand side, Trace Jackson Davis is quicker and more explosive than Armando Bacot. And nobody came over to help. And that's a tough assignment.
Bacot turns it over.
Indiana's just been more alert with active hands, knocking that ball away. That was a great play by Miller Kopp.
And Leaky Black commits a foul. Boy, not the way that Hubert Davis wanted his team to start the second half here in hostile territory.
Well, you don't want Armando Bacot having to dribble the ball in from the wing and just back in a defender. You're just inviting it to get taken away. Look how much easier that Indiana can make passes around the perimeter than North Carolina. They're able to run offense when Carolina's been made into a one-on-one team.
Jackson Davis now guarded by Nance. And Bacot the rebound.
A terrific drop step by Trace Jackson Davis. Just couldn't get it to go with the left hand. Went back to that right shoulder.
Nance steps in behind the back, banks it in. Boy, he's got a lot of different ways to score.
He can really shoot it. And he gets into the mid-range, can kiss it off the glass. He's got a turnaround jumper over either shoulder, and he's been aggressive offensively in this one. He's really been North Carolina's only real offense.
Pretty good basketball family, too, of course. His dad, Larry Nance, his brother, Larry Jr. Now with the Pelicans, Larry Sr. with a terrific NBA career with Phoenix and Cleveland.
Goes behind the back against a good defender in Race Thompson. He knocks him back, still able to kiss it off the glass.
There it is. That's a pretty good start for a family 3-on-3 game, huh? I bet your senior could still win a dunk contest.
His dad, one of the all-time great dunkers in NBA history.
In transition, it rattles out for Xavier Johnson.
Well, Carolina got the ball inside Armando Bacot, but Trace Jackson Davis sent it back with a spectacular block.
R.J. Davis, no, and the guard combo continues to struggle. Love and Davis are a combined 2 for 11 in the game, and obviously the Tar Heels rely on those guys for a lot of offense.
Well, Indiana has turned North Carolina into a jump shooting team.
It's a season high for the freshman Hood Schifino now with 14.
He is going to be a big-time player.
Another deflection, but Nance retains for the Tar Heels.
Caleb Love has to start attacking that pressure instead of shying away from it.
Black one-on-one. The turnaround short.
A really tough shot.
Johnson. Jackson Davis lays it in, and it's the largest lead of the night for Indiana.
North Carolina's tough shots have put its defense in a really bad spot. Carolina's offense has to help its defense.
Nothing going down for the Heels.
And another tough jump shot, and it's 1 and out.
Miller Kopp leans in, and 2 more for the Hoosiers. Timeout, Hubert Davis and North Carolina.
The freshman Jalen Hood Schifino, you cannot speed him up. He is playing at his own pace. And Indiana, after a bad shot by North Carolina, the Hoosiers getting just about anything they want. And a terrific strong move made by Miller Kopp, another transfer from Northwestern.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the new Sonic 2 for $5 menu for a limited time only at Sonic. Well, as we mentioned, both coaches terrific careers at their respective schools. Mike Woodson at Indiana, Big Ten Player of the Year, and a second-team All-American as a senior, better than 2,000 points. Hubert Davis, better than 1,600 points in his career. Each played better than a decade in the NBA, and now they're each in their second year coaching at their alma mater.
Well, both legends at their respective institutions, and North Carolina can't even get the ball in. They are being dominated by Indiana.
The effort being put forth on the defensive end by the Hoosiers is really something else tonight.
Well, think about the quality of shot. I mean, North Carolina in the second half, after shooting under 29% in the first half, the Tar Heels are 1 of 7 in the second half. The points in the paint advantage for Indiana, 30-6.
Wow, what touch there by Jackson Davis, and he's got 17 now.
North Carolina has been reduced to a one-on-one basketball team. I think the Tar Heels have only 2 or 3 assists in this ball game.
And they come into this game 314th in the nation in assist percentage, so it is not a strength of theirs, as Dunn gets a floater to go.
Well, one of the reasons was DeMarco Dunn used a shot fake, and it got the Indiana defense a little bit off balance. But those have been few and far between in this game.
Oh, an errant pass there by Hood Schifino.
Well, they got Hood Schifino on the elbow, tried to lob the ball up over the top, just not a good pass.
Boy, 2 Tar Heels standing right beside each other in the corner. Now Puff Johnson clears out to the other side.
Well, the pressure has really forced Carolina further out on the floor. Every that's a 2 or 3 dribble drive got all the way to the other side of the rim. But that's one of the few easy shots and uncontested shots that Carolina's had in this game. An 11-point lead. It feels like it should be bigger.
Last couple of buckets actually belonging to the Heels. Johnson the pull-up. Yes.
It's coming off that screen by Trace Jackson Davis. Xavier Johnson able to get into that shot with ease. He's got a little push jump shot, which is a low release, but still North Carolina couldn't bother it.
Dunn swatted away.
That's his 4th block.
And Race Thompson couldn't quite finish it at the other end. Davis stops on a dime. Nance battling Jackson Davis for the rebound. And Puff Johnson draws a foul.
On the occasions where North Carolina has seen an opening around the rim, Trace Jackson Davis just eliminates it with the left hand. His 4th block of the game, just pinned on the backboard.
ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
It is V Week at ESPN when we partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research. This is game-changing research that helps save lives. You can join the fight against cancer by visiting v.org/donate, and you should know 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research. It is as important a stretch on the calendar, Jay, as we have here at ESPN. We've got the great doubleheader coming up at the Garden in New York next week. We'll talk more about it. Then millions and millions and millions have been raised, but more needs to be done.
And every dollar donated to the V Foundation, every single dollar, 100% of your donations goes directly to cancer research.
If you're looking for great basketball and a great cause, Tuesday night, Madison Square Garden, Illinois, Texas in the first game, Iowa, Duke in the second game, right here on ESPN.
Right now, both Armando Bacot and Trace Jackson Davis out of the game.
Malik Renew, lots of patience, and up and over Nance.
Overload on the right side, then a little back screen, and all of a sudden, Renew has an easy bucket against Pete Nance inside. The paint has been dominated by the Indiana Hoosiers in this game. Just dominated.
Mickey Black with a nice look into the corner. Puff Johnson fouled on a three-point attempt, much to the dismay of Race Thompson.
Race Thompson with a long closeout.
Looked like he kind of grazed the shoulder a little bit, and you do have to let the shooter land. Thompson didn't like it. Mike Woodson still looking up at replays. Friday, an NBA doubleheader on ESPN and the app. It's LeBron and the Lakers in Milwaukee starting a 6-game road trip as they take on Giannis and the Bucks. 7:30 Eastern with Stephen A's telecast on ESPN2, and then it's Steph and the Warriors, DeMar DeRozan and the Bulls. Our coverage tips off with NBA Countdown at 7 o'clock on ESPN and the app. Puff Johnson, pretty important player for the Heels, again as the de facto sixth man, and a guy, versatile guy, can play multiple roles.
And he can stretch it because he can shoot the ball. Right now, this may not be the best offensive lineup that Indiana can put on the floor, but what the Hoosiers have to continue to do is put that great pressure defensively on North Carolina. Their pressure has been suffocating.
No Jackson Davis, no Hood Schifino right now. Around and out on Renew.
Boy, Renew's going to be a player. Yep. He's got a ton of ability.
Mike Woodson telling us that, like a lot of freshmen still learning, offensive foul there, that as hard as you play in high school, it's another step up here in college, and you kind of got to get yourself into it to understand it.
Bit of a delayed whistle on that screen by Pete Nance. The players just got tangled up. I'm not sure he necessarily leaned into it, but North Carolina's not been able to run any offense.
Number 2 on Pete Nance. Renew the handoff back to Galloway. Floats it up and in. Boy, that was nicely done.
Well, he got right around Renew with that little middle ball screen around the nail and was able to engage Pete Nance and just shot the floater. That's just really good basketball by Galloway.
They welcome him back after missing 3 games with a knee injury. Wide open look for Nance. Short.
And a good challenge by Renew. That should be a shot fake and a drive.
Bates, Geronimo, and R.J. Davis the rebound for Carolina.
And Carolina's gotten so little in transition.
Davis with a nice long jumper there to get it back down to 11.
And taking a quick one is probably the best offense for North Carolina. It's really one of the few open shots we've seen from the Tar Heels.
Everybody gets a touch for the Hoosiers. And Renew can't get it to fall. And then commits a foul.
Indiana moving the ball from side to side to move that North Carolina defense. Just couldn't finish it.
Last year of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. In honor of that, Jay Billis with his all-time ACC and Big Ten teams coming back.
The internet going wild. The question came up, what is my all-time Big Ten team? 5 players. I went with Jerry Lucas of Ohio State, Kevin McHale of Minnesota, Glenn Rice of the Michigan Wolverines, the great Magic Johnson of Michigan State, and Isaiah Thomas of Indiana. Now, could I have put Calbert Cheney, Glenn Robinson, John Havlicek, of course, Rick Mount, but this 5 is kind of hard to beat. Now, the ACC's all-time team. You can't go wrong with Ralph Sampson, Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, the GOAT, Christian Laettner, and David Thompson. David Skywalker Thompson of NC State, who many believe is the greatest player ever in ACC history. It's hard leaving Grant Hill and Mark Price and so many others. There's Cody Zeller, played for Tom Crean here on a #1 ranked Indiana Hoosier team. Christian Watford, you saw Christian Watford hit a pretty big shot.
Pretty big shot. It's right over there, I think. Yeah. Back in 2011. Well, that was fun. You must have had fun with that. Are you getting any? There's a pretty good player himself, Eric Montross, part of the national champion Tar Heels in 1993. Boy, David Thompson, Michael Jordan, Ralph Sampson, Tim Duncan, all on the same team. Love, yes.
Tough take. And a little bit of offense run more out of the middle of the floor to try to eliminate help. And North Carolina still within striking distance in this game with 11 minutes to go, and the Tar Heels have really been knocked back by this Indiana pressure.
Did you get a lot of pushback online about your teams?
Some.
Yeah.
And you expect that.
You enjoy some pushback, though, right? You enjoy some spirited debate.
Well, people were saying, well, so-and-so's got to be in the discussion. And I was like, there is no discussion. It's my team. Put your own team out there. Boy, good job by Puff Johnson to get around front and knock that away. If North Carolina get a bucket here, now all of a sudden Indiana's got a little game pressure, and now Trace Jackson Davis coming back to check in.
I mean, here's a steal by Johnson. And he'll finish it. He and Love got a little tangled up, but Johnson maintained his balance, and it's back to 11.
What an answer by Indiana to get the steal and the easy bucket.
Points off turnovers, 12-2 in favor of the Hoosiers. Love no. Gets it back. Tried to shovel it to Leaky Black. And a held ball. The possession arrow will give it to Indiana.
Well, this is a physical basketball game. This has been a man's game from start to finish. Just a really difficult pass to try to thread through the defenders and expect Leaky Black to catch it. But it's all a result of Indiana's pressure, and now the Hoosiers have much more offense on the floor with Trace Jackson Davis back in. Armando Bacot joins him.
Each with 3 fouls. Each sat for a few minutes. And now Carolina extending the pressure.
And Leaky Black going to stay on Jalen Hood-Schifino.
An early touch here for Jackson Davis. Here comes the double. Bates. Got it.
That is asking a lot to have DeMarco Dunn double the post and then recover out to Tamar Bates to stop that shot. You can't let the ball out on ball side.
And the floater will go over a couple of outstretched arms for Caleb Love. Bates into the chest of Puff Johnson, and that'll be an offensive foul.
Yeah, it's not a smart play by Tamar Bates. He didn't have an advantage here. Good job by Puff Johnson to get back in recovery. But this double team, one, it was not a hard double. It was just a short dig, and that's not going to bother Trace Jackson Davis. He just easily kicks it out ball side.
I wanted to ask you about that. On a handful of occasions, the Heels have done that. If you're going to go, do you have to go all the way on the double team?
I think you do. I mean, the whole point of that is to get the ball back out. But if you let it out on ball side, that's an awfully difficult task to try to stop that action.
Yeah, you're not impeding his vision at all. Love misses the 3, and Hood-Schifino skies for the rebound.
That is a heck of a rebound and a terrific box out by the point guard. Point guards aren't supposed to know how to box out. Where did he learn that? Probably at the Jay Billis Skills Camp.
Oh, was he there?
A graduate.
A turnover here. Does everybody graduate, or do you have some people come back and repeat?
We're kind of easy graders. But he did a good job of getting right into DeMarco Dunn. You know, instead of just going in and jumping for the ball, he got a body on Dunn.
Galloway with a foul. And the crowd is in a mood right now here in Bloomington.
Boy, Dan, I can't tell you how big of a play it was when Carolina got it to 9 with the ball and a chance to cut it to 7 or maybe 6. And then all of a sudden, Xavier Johnson's laying it in on the other end. Well, every catch is difficult. And Galloway's done a great job making it difficult for Caleb Love to get a catch.
Love with a turnaround. And the follow will go for Bacot.
Bacot, that's his 5th offensive rebound.
And reaching for that shoulder again.
And he's gutted it out.
Remember, came in on an ankle that wasn't 100%. Now he's got a shoulder issue as well. Galloway takes the handoff, floats it up. Second time that he's done that.
So difficult with Trace Jackson Davis setting that screen and then rolling to the basket. You have to be aware of Trace Jackson Davis. And then Galloway's got a really nice floater, stop short.
Nance. The 3 well short with a rebound to Leaky Black. And a clock issue. No foul. The whistle was for a clock issue. And Mike Woodson, if you can read lips, you know exactly what he just said. They will sort it out during the timeout. 7:43 to go. Hoosiers by a dozen. Hoosiers by 12 as we take a look at tonight's Sonic blockbuster.
Well, here's just one play that's emblematic of how difficult this game has been because of Indiana's defense. The great recovery off the high screen. They chase Carolina out top, but everybody recovering, everybody swarming to the ball. And then a great closeout by Miller Kopp to take away the corner three. And then Kopp forces Leaky Black into a tough turnaround jumper. And then it's 1 and out to go the other way. Indiana has really done a great job converting off of Carolina's 9 turnovers. 9-7 in turnovers, but Indiana 15 points off those 9 Carolina turnovers. The Hoosiers have been excellent on the defensive end.
The reason for the stoppage was a shot clock issue. They sorted that out during the timeout, and now an Indiana foul. The 6th team foul on the Hoosiers. Carolina just 3 in the second half.
And when you're as aggressive as Indiana's been, you're going to pick up a few fouls. Good pass.
Wow, Nance with a nifty feed into Baycott.
And that's where Indiana, for most of the game, their pressure on the ball has taken away the vision for that pass. Just a great seal in the lane against the defender by Armando Baycott.
Galloway's had a terrific night. Not this time, and Nance down with a rebound as Carolina can get it into single digits.
So Carolina gets a stop. The question is, can they get a score?
And a push underneath on Jordan Geronimo.
Now take a look at Armando Baycott here in the middle of the lane. Just seals off his defender. Trace Jackson Davis gets on the high side. He just moves him up the lane. And Jordan Geronimo doesn't get enough pressure on the ball. And here's the little bump underneath to pick up the foul to send Armando Baycott for Carolina's first 1-and-1 of this second half.
Geronimo to the bench with 4. Race Thompson takes his place. Wow, that's one way to do it.
Well, he's having to shoot with that right shoulder. He grabbed it as soon as he let that go.
Maybe compensating a bit for whatever he's feeling in there, and it worked out for him. You know, it's a game that feels like it's more 18 than 8, but they are only down 8 with 7 minutes to go.
Well, this is about stops right now for North Carolina, and I think Trace Jackson Davis needs to get it.
Nance is on him. Galloway gives it to him. Johnson had to improvise and comes up empty, and then fouls Love.
Not a smart play. You know, Xavier Johnson needed to just go straight up. The drop off wasn't available. Just go up for the shot. That wound up being a throw. And then compounding the error by a foul in transition to send North Carolina to the foul line.
Love a 79% free throw shooter on the season.
And career well over 80. He and R.J. Davis, 2 of the better free throw shooters North Carolina's ever had. Both of them in the top 10 all time of free throw percentage in the Tar Heel annals.
And they've got annals. They've got 80 players who have scored 1,000 points in their career. The most of any program. 1 of 2, 7-point game. Still the closest Carolina's been since early in the second half. And now a Tar Heel foul. And you can hear how they feel about that here.
So North Carolina has Pete Nance guarding Trace Jackson Davis to keep Armando Baycott able to play help side defense. He's guarding Race Thompson, so Thompson just needs to space the floor as best he can. So Baycott right under the bucket.
There's the double. Now Trimble backs off. Jackson Davis the miss, and Nance the rebound.
Smart defense by Pete Nance to force that shot about 8 feet from the basket instead of letting. Oh, great play by Galloway again.
Tipped it away, gets it back, and finishes. What a night he's had.
How about the way he used his body to shield off the defender and use the other side of the rim? What a great play by Trey Galloway.
Trimble cross court to Nance, under 10 to shoot. Good D by Hood Schifino. Tough step back shot, not there for Davis.
Smart to pull it back out.
Jackson Davis makes it look easy.
A smart pass by Schifino, Hood Schifino, to get it back out so that Xavier Johnson had the angle to enter it into the post.
It was down to 7 and they had the ball. Now it's at 11 with less than 5 minutes to go as Xavier Johnson commits another foul.
Boy, Trey Galloway's had a great game. Knocks the ball away from behind, then the pass ahead. And watch how he shields the defender, Seth Trimble. Just turns his back to him and uses the glass, majoring in English. And then what a great pass to the top to provide the angle to get the ball into the post to Trace Jackson Davis.
Mike Woodson's got some pretty good depth, doesn't he? On any given night, it could be Galloway, Bates, Renew, different guys who can step up and help the core players.
Yeah, Geronimo comes into the game, gives really good athleticism and length at 6'6". I'm not sure how many players Mike Woodson expected to play in this game. He shortened his rotation against Xavier in that 2-point win the Hoosiers had over the Musketeers.
And Davis a pair. The lead is 9 for Indiana.
Well, the free throw line keeping North Carolina in it.
The Tar Heels shooting just 32% from the field, but getting a lot more chances at the line. What a pass. And another one. Thompson. Yes.
Boy, what a smart cut by Galloway from the corner. Made himself available, and then Race Thompson got into the lane. This is really good basketball by Indiana.
Nance. 3 not there.
And all 5 guys in white are getting themselves to the defensive glass.
Thompson stuffed at the rim. Got it back. Boy, chances galore for the Hoosiers, but it's Tar Heel ball. Boy, does Carolina need to score here. They will still have it with 15 on the shot clock as the Hoosiers continue to cut beautifully and find each other for high percentage looks. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Continental Tire, the smart choice in tires. SVP, you are too kind. Happy holidays to you, Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Brooke Weisbrod here in Bloomington, Indiana. And with Notre Dame's win over Michigan State, the ACC has clinched the last ever ACC Big Ten Challenge due to new television contracts. This will go away after tonight. And the SEC Big 12 Challenge will go away after this year. And there will be a new ACC SEC Challenge, as you well know, Jay, starting in this week next season. Wow, deep one and a much needed one for Love in the heels.
Well, he can make tough shots, but tough shots are all that's Carolina's seen in this game. North Carolina has 17 field goals now, only 4 assists. That's how tough it's been for North Carolina to run offense against this Indiana defense. And Indiana set the tone right from the opening tip with physical defense that's heated up the ball to take away the vision of passers. Every catch has been difficult for the Tar Heels, and really the free throw line has been the only respite where North Carolina's been able to score easily.
And Indiana comes into this game tonight top 15 in the country in both offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency per KenPom. They are one of only 3 teams, Mr. Billis, in the top 15 on both sides of the ball. UConn and Texas are the other 2.
I know you're Canadian, but there aren't both sides of the ball in basketball. The ball is round, and they don't line up on sides.
Understood. I'll try harder.
Football is corrupting everything.
Yes. 8-point lead, 3:15 to go. Again, if you were just watching the game and there was no scoreboard and you had to guess the score, wouldn't you guess it's more than 8?
Yeah, I think Indiana has dominated this game. I mean, look at the paint numbers. Indiana scored 46 points in the paint. And for North Carolina, the paint's been a rumor. You know, they can't get in there and certainly can't get anything unchallenged. And North Carolina's found it very difficult to run any sort of offense in the half court. And, you know, that's evidenced by the 4 assists on the 17 field goals. It's been a one-on-one game, and Indiana's forced that. It's not that Carolina's chosen that. Indiana has forced it.
And a loss tonight would be 3 in a row for Hubert Davis's team. And again, their next game is Saturday in Blacksburg as they open up ACC play for the game at Virginia Tech. And they've got the likes of Ohio State and Michigan still coming later on this month.
Nobody said it was going to be easy. Now, there's Eric Church, the country music star and very average golfer. Standing right next to Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director at the University of North Carolina.
Whereas you are a golf star, but a very average country music performer.
Less than average. But Eric Church is a fabulous guy, and he actually is a good golfer in this team. I played with him once and enjoyed it.
They took 5 seconds off the game clock. So evidently it wasn't running when it should have been. Johnson. For the Indiana perimeter players have been so crafty with the ball, and they're getting into the paint and making plays.
Well, they've been patient off of any sort of ball screen action. Whether it's been Galloway or Johnson, Hood Schifino, they don't just blast off it into trouble. Good pass.
Baycott from Love. And even with that bucket, the points in the paint tonight are 48-20 for Indiana.
Yeah, it's not been close. And if Carolina can run some offense out of the middle of the floor, they can try to eliminate some of this help side defense for Indiana. But right now, the clock is the Hoosiers' friend. They don't have to be in a hurry. You don't want to take the air out of the ball, but you don't want to rush either.
That's a pretty good play. Get it into the All-American candidate and let him go over his right shoulder.
Well, he's got one-on-one in the post, and he's going to get the ball into the middle.
Nance initiates the contact, and the foul is on Jalen Hood Schifino.
And that's something that Hood Schifino will learn. Once you run him off the three-point line, don't foul. You've got help side defense. Just one-on-one in the post, and Trace Jackson Davis uses that body so well and gets it right into the chest of Pete Nance and goes to that left hand.
So how about this? 21 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists coming out of those double teams, and 4 blocks as well for Trace Jackson Davis.
That's why he's a first-team preseason All-American.
The 4th annual Big 12 Big East battle. Tomorrow night, a doubleheader. Number 7 Creighton, outstanding offensive team. We had a chance to see them out in Maui. Really fun to watch. Take it on what looks like maybe one of the best teams in America. 2nd-ranked Texas, and then Seton Hall at Kansas from Allen Fieldhouse in the second game. Both games are on ESPN and the ESPN app. Johnson will back it back out. As Jay said, the clock is the friend, the ally of the Hoosiers right now.
North Carolina still has a foul to give, so they can be aggressive.
Coach Schifino lost it. Davis pulls up inside the arc. Tipped up, no good. Hoosier ball. And finally, the foul is called. Leaky Black.
Yeah, they got the 3rd one. But it's just inbounded.
So the 6th team foul on the heels, and a timeout taken by Mike Woodson.
From the opening tip, Mike Woodson says, heat it up. Heat up the ball. The ball pressure on North Carolina by this Indiana defense has been excellent. Now, right now, Xavier Johnson has his hands down, but he gets him up to knock that pass away and start an advantage situation. Trey Galloway with the nice finish on the other end. But this is defense turning into offense. Look how far out that Carolina's got to go to run offense and to make a catch. And the catch, a difficult one. Geronimo knocking it away, and Galloway the beneficiary on the other end. And Galloway getting over the top of the screen, knocking that ball away from behind and taking it the other way with a really nice finish off the glass. Indiana's defense has been stifling. It's not been some sort of offensive exhibition by the Hoosiers that has staked them out to this lead. It's been stifling defense to hold this North Carolina team, number 1 to start the season, to just 61 points with 1:27 to go in regulation.
We had a chance to have a nice chat with Mike Woodson at the beginning of their shoot-around today, and he played 4 years here, right in between the national champs of '76 and the national champs of '81. We asked him, how different is this building, this great building, from when you played? And he goes, really not very much. And then he looked up to the top of the building and he said, I remember when Coach Knight used to make me run those stairs if I did something wrong. And he kind of got lost in thought for a second. Then I asked him, do you still have your candy stripes from when you were a player? He said, absolutely. I've got every bit of memorabilia I ever had, everything I ever wore, going back to when I was in the 8th grade.
Well, just like you keeping all your coats and ties from each one of your games as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
But it was great to see Bob Knight at practice yesterday, and so many of the great Hoosiers. Randy Whitman, Ted Kitchell, Landon Turner spoke to the team today. Jared Jeffries is in the crowd. There are a whole bunch of Hoosier greats here at this game. Scott May was at practice. He got a connection to get into the North Carolina practice. I don't know exactly what it was.
Yeah, he knows somebody. Father sons who have both won national championships, albeit for different programs. Johnson inside, and a foul called on Baycott.
Boy, what a hard take by Xavier Johnson. He's been so good with the ball this season. His decisions have been much better this year. He had 23 points and 7 rebounds against Xavier. He's just an elusive guard that's really good in pick and roll situations with Trace Jackson Davis.
A nice mix of experience and youth for this Indiana program.
And they play hard.
Yeah.
Like, these guys play hard.
Got reinforcements, got good depth, and got high expectations. Well, you think the Purdue Indiana games will be any fun this year?
You think?
That's always one of the great rivalries in college basketball. And they're both off to great starts right now, both top 10 teams.
Well, how about this building, Dan? What a spectacular atmosphere.
Love drops one in, and Hubert Davis will use a timeout. Yeah, there's no question that this is top 5. You know, and I think you and I feel the same about this. We talk about Kansas, Duke. Purdue's another spot that's absolutely phenomenal. The Kennel out in Spokane for Gonzaga, but this place takes a backseat to nobody.
I think all of the great arenas, that there should be a federal law that all the other great arenas should have to play home and home against one another.
Absolutely.
No more neutral sites.
Yeah.
You know, make Kansas and Duke and Kentucky and all these places play here, and then the Hoosiers go back and play there. I think Congress needs to jump on that right away. Stop the partisanship and do what the American people want.
Such great tradition in this program. This week is the first time in 6 seasons the Hoosiers have been a top 10 team, and they're looking like they want to stay there a while.
When you see number 25 there, Race Thompson coming back out. This is Race Thompson's 6th year. I think he committed to Branch McCracken.
Had a redshirt year, the extra COVID year that a lot of players decided to use. DeMarco Dunn is in now for Carolina. Tipped by Love, out of bounds to the Hoosiers.
They need to break somebody into the middle to have an outlet. That was a dangerous pass.
And Hubert Davis is asking for them to check to see who that went out of bounds off of, which of course you can do in the last 2 minutes. The officials don't have to grant it if they're certain, but it looks like they are going to take a look at it at Davis's request. Ball on the court is Indiana ball, off Love. That's an interesting one. I don't know that there's anything definitive there, but did it hit the fingertips of Thompson after the deflection? And no, that was a quick one. It'll stay with the Hoosiers. Both coaches steal a quick timeout. And away from the ball, a call on Dunn, and it'll be Johnson striding to the free throw line. He's already there.
Xavier Johnson, a solid free throw shooter with that little push shot that he uses.
Tell you a couple of games that are fun to think about on the Indiana calendar coming up in the month of December, which by the way begins tomorrow. They will play Arizona in Las Vegas on December the 10th, and then they will play Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse at noon Eastern, December the 17th on ESPN2.
Well, you play Arizona, you'd better be prepared to run with those big guys, Azuolas Tubelis and Umar Ballo. Arizona brings size, and with Kirk Kriisa at the point guard position, that team can really score. Right now for Indiana, no threes, no fouls.
Deep one for Love. And Johnson is fouled again.
Boy, what a defensive performance by Indiana. They certainly had their moments on the offensive end, but this game was won with hard-nosed, smash-mouth defense with great pressure on the ball. Every catch was contested. Carolina had nothing easy after warmups. The last thing they had easy was in pregame warmups. I think if you're Mike Woodson and the Indiana staff, the thing that you're pleased with most is how hard your team played for 40 minutes.
A dozen is the lead right now for Woodson's Hoosiers. Davis lays it in.
You give up a 2, not that big of a deal. You just don't want to foul, and you don't want to give up threes.
Tyler Nickel, a freshman from Harrisonburg, Virginia, is into the game for Carolina. He commits that foul.
Nickel's going to be a good player. He can really shoot it.
Scored over 2,900 points in high school.
In 32-minute games.
Wow. Had 54 in one game. And Hubert Davis talked to us earlier today about trying to develop that depth, that freshman class, get them more involved when he can. But again, they still rely very heavily on their starting five, and it's 6 if you count Puff Johnson, but not a ton of production from 7 and beyond so far this year for North Carolina. Good D again by Johnson. Nance. And the foul against R.J. Davis, and it'll be Galloway going to the free throw line.
So impressed by Indiana in this game.
And now the players are enjoying it with the fans, getting the fans even more revved up. Johnson, Jackson Davis kind of saluting the fans as Galloway goes to the line.
This was an old school win, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, they got their fingernails dirty in this one.
Yeah, just established themselves on the defensive end and made it clear that there was going to be nothing easy. Not one catch, not one bucket. And the paint was closed off from the beginning.
One more rebound for Jackson Davis. Galloway's out ahead of the pack. But they won't go there. They'll let the clock run out, and the Indiana Hoosiers go to 7-0 with an impressive win over North Carolina. The Hoosiers get a big effort from Trace Jackson Davis and get an unbelievable physical, determined effort from everybody who took the court tonight as they beat the Tar Heels 77-65. Jackson Davis with 21 and 10. Xavier Johnson with 20. For Jay Billis, Brooke Weisbrod, and our entire outstanding ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching and so long as we send you to SVP.